What's going on, golf addicts? DB here with two sleepers to give you for the Genesis Invitational 2023 from Riv. Tiger's playing. Newsflash, he won't be a sleeper in this video, okay? Also, let me formally apologize because I got three sleepers last week, all dead freaking wrong. One missed the cut on the number, one missed the cut by 2, one missed the cut by 3. Luke List, Alex Norton, Matt Wallace. You all screwed me last week at the Waste Management Phoenix Open. It's the first sleepers video this year where everybody sucked, okay? So usually I'm good for at least one solid play in this video. Today, I'm giving you two plays. They're both in the 6K range, both at low ownership in DFS. I wouldn't consider either one of them for an outright, but they are both 6-1 to top 20. And I think we'll be off to a better start. We'll have a better week this week. Okay. If you're watching the video, please click the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. We would greatly appreciate it. Let's get into this. Okay, the first one is at $6,800. Like I said, 6-1, top 20 on DraftKings is about as bold a call as I would maybe make for a guy like this. I wouldn't bet him outright in this strong a field. You could definitely play him top 30, top 40, whatever you want to do. The head-to-head matchups have not come out yet, so I don't know where he stands from a head-to-head spot, but that'll be interesting to see. And I think you're going to get this guy projected. I'm seeing early projections coming in around 2 to 3%. I don't think you're going to have a whole lot of this guy. There's a lot of good names in the 6K range. I think lineup construction is going to take a lot of people into that studs and duds build. You're going to have a lot of players in the 6K, but there's a lot of strong names because of the depth of the field, the elevated event status. So I don't think anybody's going to be super chalky in this range at all. It's Sepp Straka. That's right. The Georgia Bulldog, the man from Austria, the big swinging Austrian. Now, we talk about Australians loving this place and the Kikuyu grass. He's close. He's missing just a couple letters or he'd be Australian. But Sepp, we know Strep. He's a good dude. He works with our friend John Tillery, good coach. And Sepp's played well here. He's played here 3 times. He's improved every time. He missed the cut his first start, 43rd his second start, and T15 last year in 2022. We talk about Riv being a place that experience matters. If you look at the trends of who's won here, a lot of them, most of them would have had some play a few times around Riv and had some success around Riv as it's got some nuance to it. So he checks those boxes. And I don't know that Sepp is necessarily in line to win right now, but here's what I'll say. And we're going to look at it. I'm going to share my screen and look at it on Fantasy National. He has a propensity to go from the absolute basement to boom, top 10, top 5. He has that. He's not one of these guys who you have to see kind of the form coming, okay? Now let's talk about his recent form because there's 2 tournaments that he's played in on the DP World Tour that you're not going to see on Fantasy National or a lot of other sites. He's played in the Hero Dubai and he played in Abu Dhabi. He missed the cut both times. I checked. He didn't miss it on the number. He missed it by a couple shots. But the scores were like 73, 74, 75. All 4 of the rounds between those 2 tournaments were between 73 and 75. So at least it's not like, he didn't have like an 80 burger or like he wasn't shooting 78s and 77s, right? It's just, a little off. He hasn't played those courses very much, if at all. Going overseas to do that can be an adjustment. So now he's back. Let's take a look at him. I'm going to share my screen, the Sepp Straka screen. Yeah, here we go. So the first thing you see is he loves him some POA, that's positive, right? We've got a pure POA surface here on Riv. Loves POA. Gain strokes in these average kind of conditions. I would definitely put Riv in possibly in between the average and the difficult. I mean, difficult being probably major championship style courses. Average on the PGA Tour is probably where Riv leans a little more. It's kind of surprising how the delta between these two, but it is what it is. But I think all in all, if we look at who he is as a player, he's never really been a big strokes gain off the tee guy. A lot of that has to do with his distance. He's not a super long hitter, despite being a big dude. In this field, over the last, let's see, how many rounds did I do? Over the last 24 rounds, which isn't a huge sample size, he's like 79th in the field in driving distance, but he's 38th in fairways gained. So definitely more of an accurate player, which isn't going to hurt you here at all at Riv, even though it's hard to hit fairways, and I definitely lean guys that hit it a little further. It's not like he's dead bottom of the field in this 130 guy field in driving distance, right? So but here's what I want to look at. I want to look at how. Let's just scroll through. Okay, so obviously you've got the two events in the Middle East, both missed cuts. 21st at the Century, whatever. But irons are pretty solid, despite losing all those strokes off the tee. Irons really good. Probably lost a lot of these strokes off the tee because Kapalua, a place where you can just bomb it, and he can't really hit it that far. But coming off of these missed cuts, not really a great finish here. Good start to the season with the runner-up at the Sanderson. Obviously had a decent year last year. I mean, runner-up at the FedEx St. Jude. I mean, that's a field equivalent to this, right? And look at the form. Look at the form. This is what I'm talking about. 6 consecutive missed cuts, including to end the season right here. And then bang, the very next week at the FedEx St. Jude in one of the strongest fields all season, runner-up. Follows that up with this is just what he kind of does. And I'll show you more examples of it, okay? All right, so here he had a little form going, right? The Honda is really the one exception. His win to me at the Honda is the one exception where you kind of saw a little bit of form coming. I mean, it's not like it's amazing, but it's coming on the heels of the 15th at the Genesis. But at least it's not a ton of miscuts. 16th at Torrey, another strong field. Kikuyu grass at Torrey, gained 4.2 strokes around the green. We like to see that. Gained strokes around the green at the Genesis last year. We like to see that. Typically just a good iron player and a good putter. That's long term how he pans out. But let's keep scrolling. I mean, look at this: miscut, 15th, miscut, 10th, miscut, 15th, miscut. I mean, it's like this all the time. Going into the Honda, Corrales, miscut, 43rd, miscut, not great. Houston, here's a little better showing, I guess, in terms of lead up form. I mean, it's just funny how he does this. Look at this. Miscut, fourth. Miscut, 53rd, almost dead last, fourth. Miscut. I'm just saying, I'm saying all this to say, don't be afraid of the form with Sepp Straka, because I truly think he's one of those guys who can just kind of buck form and all of a sudden he shows up. I want to show you one more thing on Sepp Straka, and that is his long-term proximity. Nope, that's the wrong. Hold on. Long-term proximity is something I want to look at because it's a key range. Yeah, here we go. All right, key range here. This 125 to 150, 175 to 200. Very good iron player in those two buckets. I mean, the 150 to 175 is definitely going to be a popular bucket as well this week. But the long irons, which you're going to have here at Riv, typically Sepp's doing pretty good. And even in these missed cuts in the fall, still doing really good in those areas. So I like to see that with Sepp Straka. Like I said, $6,800, probably in that 3% range. I just think he's a guy who does give you legitimate top 10 upside in the 6K range, and he's done it in fields as strong as this one, the FedEx St. Jude, and he's done it coming off of poor form. And he's trending at Riv, miscut 43rd, 15th. Okay. So I think we give Sepp a play. Now, could he absolutely suck and completely bomb round one? And you guys are all sending me messages. You suck. Absolutely, he could. Okay, absolutely. That's the problem with Sepp Straka. Hey, real quick before I get to the last sleeper play, do want to remind you guys to check out the Leaderboard app. If you like playing golf, if you like gambling with your friends, this app connects with Venmo. It connects with the USGA. So your GIN handicap gets plugged in instantly and immediately. You can follow your friends. You can follow me and Pat on the app, track our golf, make fun of us. I just posted a horrible round the other day on the Leaderboard app. You can download it for free. It's a free app, and when you get in it, they're not pushing you to paywall, all this paywall stuff. There's nothing to pay for. It's all free. Okay? The link is in the description of the video. Check it out. All right, for the last play I'm going to give you, I went really long on the Sepp Straka play, so I didn't mean to do that. Let me see if I can do this one quickly. $6,700, also a 6-1 top 20 play on DraftKings. Wouldn't bet him to win, although he's won this tournament before. 6-1 top 20 is about as good as I'd recommend. Now, I think he's going to get a little more ownership than Sepp, probably in the 4 to 7% range, I'd say, but his form at Genesis is quite strong. Let's take a look at Mr. James Hahn at 6,700 on DraftKings. Man, I mean, look at the Genesis play from James Hahn. He's made 8 of 9 cuts with a win and 6 top 30s. And I mean, if you want to say James Hahn sucks, he's kind of washed up, look at the last 5 years. I mean, last year was the exception, but he lost 4 strokes putting. It's a really peak bad putting performance. I mean, in the last 5 years, look what he's done. He's done a lot of damage at Riv, despite being washed up James Hahn. Over the long term, he's always been a solid, driver, solid iron player, ball striker. It's typically been the putter that's been his issue. And despite having really bad POA splits, I do find it promising that of 9 attempts here, he's gained strokes putting on 4 out of those 9. That's better than what he's done long-term average. And then last year was really the one like horrible year. I mean, even in the year he won in 2015, 2014, like you would take this all day out of James Hahn, considering because it's almost 0. You would take that out of James Hahn for sure. But then if we just look at his form, I mean, for what he's doing coming in, incoming form is solid. The ball striking is there despite some missed cuts. 32nd at Scottsdale, but I like to see a lot of green here in off and a lot of green here in approach play with occasional green and green in the putting and short game area. I mean, that's kind of where his bread and butter is. I mean, look at him last year when he wasn't. The irons weren't really clicking, and now it seems as though the irons have gotten a little more consistent when we just see this green here. I like it. Like I said, really good total driver of the ball, hits it over 300, but it also hits a lot of fairways. That obviously comes in handy here at Riviera. The model numbers like James Hahn too. So let me just, let's see, James Hahn. So in my model, 29th in this field, last 24 rounds in approach play. That's very solid. In this field, at Riviera, 15th in strokes gained tee to green at Riviera. Also solid. Driving distance, he sits 63rd in the field, but driving accuracy 30th, like a lot better than Sepp Straka, actually. So he's longer than Straka and more accurate even than Sepp Straka. That 150 to 175 proximity range long term, he's done really well. I just think James Hahn, he's also got the Twitter vengeance factor going, working in his favor. He's very vocal on Twitter about LIV and about the problems with the PGA Tour, and he's calling out no laying up every day. He's getting back and forth in no laying up. I think there's nothing James Hahn would want more than to come out and win this week. I don't think he can do it. I don't think he's going to do it. But I do think James Hahn legitimately has top 15, top 20 upside at 6,700. I'd be shocked to see him in the top 10, but hey, this is definitely a spot that he's really enjoyed over the last few years. So give that a shot. Thanks for watching the video. Click the like button, subscribe, comment, download the leaderboard app in the description, and we'll see you in the Nut Hut. May your screens be green. See ya.